Welcome back to Rediscover Podcast, where we talk to people of all sorts of life who have rediscovered their calling in life as they go through life. And we're here with Pastor Tommy McMurtry. We've had you on before. We've talked about some serious things before, but Here we are at the International Christian Film and Music Festival. What do you think so far?
I've really enjoyed it. I honestly had no idea what I was in for. I've never been to anything like this, but it's definitely been a unique experience, and I've had a really good time.
We had a premiere of A City Lost, right? How did you feel about it?
I loved it. I was very happy with the turnout. I had no idea. You know, a lot of the things I've gone to, there's not been that many people, but there was a good turnout for it. And I love getting to hear feedback from people who they don't know us. You know, these are just regular people out there who don't have strong opinions one way or the other, which is going to be the vast majority of people who are going to see this documentary. So getting feedback from, you know, the unbiased, the people that we're trying to reach, it was very encouraging that it was really good. It was kind of what I had hoped. And so I felt like it was kind of a reality check for the documentary, and I thought it went really well.
Well, and it's true because in a place like this, a lot of people aren't here to watch the films per se. They're here because there's awards up and that kind of thing, and they're here to network, right?
Right.
I was also surprised of the turnout that we had.
Yes.
A lady just a little while ago came up that volunteers here. She's like, by far you had the biggest turnout.
Yes. Well, this is an interesting subject, and that's what I've said. Not everybody's interested in archaeology and Jerusalem, but a lot of people are, especially in the Christian world. And I know this documentary is going to be one that's going to get people's attention. And one of the things that I was most encouraged by was one of the ladies that I talked to that, you know, didn't know me from Adam, but was interested in the subject, how she brought up several things that she had just never thought about until she saw the documentary, is specifically doctrinally about why we should not be supporting the rebuilding of a temple. To me, it's one of those things doctrinally, it's obvious, but nobody's talking about it. You know, nobody's bringing it up, and this documentary did a really good job of explaining that. And so,
well, and you did, because that was literally your part in the film.
Right. And so, yeah, so the fact, and maybe that's why she talked to me afterwards, but the fact that she brought that up and basically said what I feel like everybody would say if they were presented that truth, because they've just been told, support them, support Israel.
Right.
The temple's coming, let's support it. But it's like, well, hang on, time out a second. Don't we believe as Christians Jesus finished all that? Isn't there a reason that went away? So should we actually be doing that? And I think most legitimate Christians, you present that truth to them, they're going to be like, well, duh, yeah, we shouldn't get behind this. And so I was encouraged to get that feedback.
Well, and there's a lot of commotion behind you because Dean Cain, the Superman series, is right behind you right now.
Oh, nice. Oh, there you go.
There he is taking pictures. But the idea behind it, do you think that people don't look at it that way because they're so infused with this idea of, well, I just want to get raptured and leave, and I can't get raptured and leave until this temple's here, and so hurry up and let's help the temple happen?
Right.
Because it's more of a self-preserving idea that we don't really realize that it is?
Well, most people have just not thought through their eschatology. And they go to these prophecy conferences, they play on your emotions, they hype up certain things. It's all about current events in Israel. And they've not thought through their beliefs theologically. And they're not consistent. And so as a result of that, you know, people, they just kind of go along with everything. And it is, sometimes it just takes somebody saying, hey, time out, 1 second, let's think through this. And this documentary, it does that. And that's why I love the message of it, because I think it will help.
So a lot of times, like, you're part of this, like even Bob Cornuke, who was a part of it, hadn't seen the full thing yet.
Right.
He said a really cool comment, like, you know what, there's some things that I hadn't thought about that I learned in there, which was interesting to me because we're looking to him to be.
Well, I about fell over when he told me that, because I learned a bunch of stuff from him. I love the way he looks at the scriptures. He looks at it not looking for sermon material like I do. He looks at it more like an investigator. I want to find these places. I want to put the clues together.
Yeah.
Most of us don't think that way. He does. So after listening to him point out things I had never noticed. It got me looking at the scriptures in that same way in certain areas. And so I'm finding all kinds of stuff, and so when I heard him saying that, I'm like, I figured you already, covered all that. So yeah, that flattered me a little bit.
Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah, and because there's lots of things that when you start to look at it, you're learning, right? That is a different way to look at it. That is, and we saw that a lot, not just in A City Lost, but also I Have a Storm premiered here. Did anybody talk to you after the fact of Eye of the Storm also, which was a little bit of a harder watch?
Right. Not as many talked about that, but yeah, that was one of those that's, where it's like people don't know what to think about it because it confuses people because they've been so brainwashed with the Zionism, but at the same time, that video is so fair. It shows both sides.
Right.
But then it also shows that on Israel's side, things are a lot more extreme and worse.
Aren't as victimizing.
Yes. And you're seeing the footage. You're hearing what the people are saying right there. And a lot of times when we listen to certain rhetoric, we don't think about the people it affects, but the videos show that. Yeah. And as Christians, we don't see people as animals or less than animals or anything like that. And even though these people are lost and believe things we don't agree with, we don't want to see their children destroyed and buried in rubble.
We want to see them saved.
Exactly.
Right.
And even if they don't get saved, we don't enjoy their suffering.
Right.
And so we know better than to talk about people that way, but our allies, they don't even see these people as people. And so we should ask ourselves, should we be so supportive of this?
Well, I enjoy what you say a lot and Pastor Boyle say that here they are fighting, and perhaps they're fighting over the wrong place anyway. Mm-hmm. And so as Christians, we shouldn't be supporting where the temple's going to be or whether or not it's going to be anyway. Mm-hmm. So as Christians, why even pick a side? We're on the side of Christ, right? Mm-hmm. We're on the side of, we should just be preaching the gospel to both sides, actually.
Yes. Well, as Christians, theologically, no matter where they rebuild the temple, it's spitting in the face of Jesus. And so we shouldn't support the rebuilding of it anywhere. But then, politically speaking, we especially shouldn't be on the side of something too that will cause great conflict and bloodshed. And so the reality is, I don't want them to build it all. I believe it's going to happen prophetically. Where it happens prophetically, I don't think it even really matters that much. So if I were to pick, I would pick the city of David area because that would result in much less bloodshed.
Right.
And because I believe that's where it actually was, I think the devil knows that, and I think that's more likely where he will do it. But at the end of the day, it's not about the reality of the situation, it's about the perception. He knows he's not God, but he wants people to think he is God. And so he will declare himself as God, right, sitting in the temple of God. And so as long as the world thinks it's the right spot, he's okay with that.
Right. And going back to the amount of people that were in there, what's impressive, it is a bit of a long watch, right? Mm-hmm. Like it is pretty long, but it's super informative. If you're into it, you're into it.
Yes.
It's a testament to Paul's filmmaking that usually people are ducking in and out of all these films around here, right? They're, oh, okay, whatever, and they walk out. Most everyone stayed in.
Oh,
to the end. It was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, well, one lady that did leave, she stopped by me first before she left, and she's just like, this is incredible. She was like, this is so good. She's like, I have to be at another event, but she's like, I can't wait to watch the rest of it online. So it held the audience very well, and so I was pleased with that because it is long, and I'm not gonna lie, I've walked out of a few things in here that were much shorter.
Yes, yeah, well, so have I. I mean, you got to be, since so many things are going on at the same time, you got to pick and choose what you want to do, or you want to network, or you want to do these other things. So, but it's up for 3 awards. It's up for Best Director, Best Creative Documentary, Best Documentary. So we're hoping that something happens with that so it can get more recognition and be out there. As a matter of fact, I think someone from the broadcasting network that's going to broadcast the award ceremony expressed interest in it. So hopefully it reaches a wider audience. it's done like a History Channel type way where it's very engaging, right? Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, and even if it doesn't win anything, the reality is, in a Christian crowd, it would have probably done better if it had a more politically correct message, that went along with the mainstream. But I'm glad that, Paul is not sacrificing, his beliefs and convictions for awards and just getting things out there. And that's the way I feel about it too. Obviously, I want it to be as successful as possible, but I don't want to sacrifice any truth for success. To me, that's not success. And so the fact that it's being received like it is, with it being as truthful as it is, and the opinions being as unpopular as they are, I think that's a testament to the filmmaking. You can't get around the quality of it. It's so well done. It is engaging, but again, the truths that are pushed in there. People, they seem to be, they're walking away thinking, and that's what you want to do in a documentary. Obviously, you want to change people's minds, but with a subject like this, there is a lot to it, and people have been brainwashed on a lot of things, and you don't just turn that off. But if you can get people thinking, you get people thinking right, I don't see why they're not going to come around fully.
right, and it takes some time. They've got to go down their own rabbit hole and really start to research this. But as long as that seed is planted in there, I think that's what's important.
Yes.
Yeah. So, man, it's great to always talk to you, but we'll have to have you back up to the studio again so we can talk longer and have more fun.
For sure. I appreciate it.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Pastor
Thank
Thomas.
you.